Before we dive deeper into patch management, it's important to understand three basic concepts: vulnerabilities, exploits, and patches. These terms form the foundation of modern cybersecurity. Without a clear grasp of what they mean and how they connect, patch management can feel abstract. With this foundation, the value of disciplined patching becomes clear and undeniable. A vulnerability is a weakness in a system, application, or device that attackers can exploit. These weaknesses can come from many sources: programming errors that allow unintended behavior, configuration mistakes like default passwords or open ports, design flaws built into the system, or obsolescence when software is no longer supported. Think of vulnerabilities as cracks in the wall of a fortress. On their own, they don't always cause damage, but they provide entry points for adversaries to disrupt services or steal data. Not all vulnerabilities are equal. Some cause minor issues, while others can give attackers full control. To measure severity, organizations use scoring systems like CVSS, which assign values based on exploitability and potential impact. An exploit is the method or tool an attacker uses to take advantage of a vulnerability. If the vulnerability is the crack in the wall, the exploit is the crowbar that forces it open. Exploits take many forms, from specially crafted inputs that crash a program and run code, to malware that targets known flaws in an operating system, to phishing emails that lure victims to exploit-laden websites. Exploits are what turn vulnerabilities into real danger. A flaw with no known exploit may carry limited risk, but once exploit code is published, the risk rises dramatically. Attackers no longer need to invent new techniques. They can simply download and reuse what already exists. That's why proof-of-concept exploits, often released by researchers, are so significant. They provide blueprints that criminals can adapt, turning disclosure into a race against time. Patch management is about action, the process of acquiring, testing, and deploying updates that fix weaknesses. Vendors release patches to resolve security flaws, correct bugs, and improve performance. Effective patch management requires planning, scheduling updates, minimizing downtime, testing for compatibility, and confirming success. In short, patch management answers the question, what are we doing about it? It works hand in hand with vulnerability management. Vulnerability management without patching only generates reports but doesn't reduce risk. Patching without vulnerability management risks wasted effort and missed priorities. Together, they form a cycle. Vulnerabilities are discovered, patches are applied, and systems are rescanned to confirm remediation. The message is clear. Patch management and vulnerability management are not interchangeable, but inseparable. Awareness without action leaves systems exposed, and action without awareness leaves gaps. Only when combined do they create true resilience. Vulnerability management is about awareness. It's the continuous process of identifying, classifying, and prioritizing weaknesses across an organization's environment. These weaknesses may stem from outdated software, misconfigurations, or flaws in applications, operating systems, and even firmware. Specialized tools like Nessus, Qualys, and OpenVAS scan systems and compare results against known databases, such as the National Vulnerability Database or CISA's Known Exploited Vulnerabilities Catalog. The output is a report that shows what issues exist and how severe they may be. In short, vulnerability management answers the question, where are we at risk? Vulnerabilities, exploits, and patches together form what's often called the vulnerability lifecycle. The process usually follows a familiar pattern. First, a vulnerability is discovered by researchers, vendors, or attackers. The vendor then develops and releases a patch to fix it. Meanwhile, researchers or attackers may create exploits that target the flaw. If organizations fail to patch in time, attackers use those exploits to compromise systems. This cycle highlights why patching is so urgent. The longer a vulnerability remains unpatched, the greater the chance it will be weaponized. A real-world example is WannaCry. Microsoft released a patch for the SMB protocol months before the ransomware outbreak, but because many organizations delayed, attackers were able to exploit it on a massive scale. When a new vulnerability is disclosed, the clock starts ticking. In many cases, attackers begin working on exploits immediately. Security researchers have found that the median time from disclosure to active exploitation is now measured in days, not weeks or months. Some flaws are weaponized within 24 to 72 hours. This urgency is why patching speed matters so much. The longer an organization waits, the more likely it is that the vulnerability will be exploited in the wild. To help prioritize, the security community uses the Exploit Prediction Scoring System, or EPSS. EPSS uses machine learning and threat intelligence data to estimate the probability that a given vulnerability will be exploited in the next 30 days. Unlike static severity scores, EPSS focuses on likelihood of real-world exploitation. By combining EPSS with patch management, organizations can focus first on vulnerabilities that attackers are most likely to use. Not all vulnerabilities are public. Known vulnerabilities are those that have been disclosed and cataloged in databases like the National Vulnerability Database or CISA's Known Exploited Vulnerabilities list. These are widely tracked, and patches usually exist. Unknown vulnerabilities, often called 0 days, are flaws not yet discovered by defenders or vendors. Attackers may exploit them before a patch exists. While patch management cannot solve 0 days directly, it ensures that once fixes are released, they can be applied quickly. Some vulnerabilities are discovered but deliberately kept secret. These are called concealed vulnerabilities and are often held by nation-states or organized groups to be used as weapons later. They may never be disclosed until they are actively exploited, making them especially dangerous. While patch management alone can't address concealed flaws, keeping known vulnerabilities patched reduces the attack surface and forces adversaries to rely on fewer, rarer exploits. This distinction highlights another reason patching is so critical. Defenders are already at a disadvantage with 0 days and concealed vulnerabilities. Leaving known flaws unpatched only worsens the odds. Attackers often chain vulnerabilities together, one to get in, another to escalate privileges or move laterally. Even older, well-documented flaws can be stepping stones in these advanced attacks. But if those flaws are patched, the chain is broken, and the attack is far less likely to succeed. For someone new to the field, patch management may look like routine IT work, but when viewed through the lens of vulnerabilities, exploits, and patches, its importance comes into focus. Every unpatched vulnerability is a potential breach. Every unapplied patch is an open door. These concepts also help bridge the gap with non-technical stakeholders. Executives may not follow CVSS metrics or exploit code, but they understand risk. By framing vulnerabilities as cracks, exploits as tools, and patches as repairs, IT teams can clearly show why patch management must remain a top priority. Vulnerabilities are weaknesses. Exploits are the methods attackers use to abuse those weaknesses. Patches are the fixes that close them. Together, these three elements define the core of cybersecurity risk and defense. Patch management is the structured process that makes sure vulnerabilities are identified and patched before attackers can take advantage of them. Without it, organizations fall into the same cycle. A flaw is disclosed, a patch is released, attackers weaponize it, and unpatched systems are compromised. By mastering these basics, professionals can see patch management as more than a routine task. It's part of the larger security ecosystem, one of the simplest yet most powerful ways to keep organizations safe.